Alright, welcome back ladies and gentlemen to the Chupacabra tutorials channel. I'm your host Larry, and today I'm going to show you how to breed and manage bees to get wax and honey, which will allow you to do things like craft honey blocks. So when you're finding bees out in the wild, you're going to find them kind of like this, where they're in just a random hive attached to a tree, and your best bet for collecting this is by having some type of tool, either a pick or an axe with silk touch, waiting until nighttime when they all go inside their hive, and then grabbing it off of the tree so you can plonk it back down inside of an enclosure, because the bees have a tendency of wandering off at random and dying, so it's better to keep them contained. Now, when you want to get started with beekeeping, and you want to produce extra bees without having to find a bajillion different beehives, you're going to need to craft your very own, which is going to take some wax. Now, normally, there's two ways of harvesting stuff from a beehive. You can slap it with a bottle, which will produce angry killer bees, generally, if I'm not in creative mode, and it'll also give you a bottle of honey. The other thing you can do, if I go over here to this naturally spawned beehive, is to get the wax out of them to craft another hive. You're going to have to right-click it, and you'll get around 3 dollops of honeycomb per snipping, depending on the hive. Once you have this honeycomb, this is what you need in order to craft a brand new empty apiary for the bees. Just consider it a regular beehive, but this one's made by people. And the recipe for that is 3 blocks at the bottom, 3 blocks at the top, and put those honeycomb in the middle, and now you have a beehive. This you can take inside of here, where you have your other bees. Just slap it down somewhere where they can access it easier. And then to fill it, all you gotta do is produce more bees than the original hives can hold, and they will start to take up residence inside of these bee boxes. Breeding bees is as easy as collecting some flowers, and then you can literally right-click any adult bee, and then they will do the horizontal mambo and spit out a baby bee. To feed them inside of a container like this, you just need to put some flowers down on the ground. Not very many, I would say at minimum 1 per hive, but the more the merrier. They'll fill them up even faster if you have even more flowers on the ground. And then you can continue to harvest the honey by right-clicking them using a bottle. Once you have enough of these bottles of honey, let me get some extra. Once you get enough of these honey bottles, you can go into your crafting menu, and then you can craft them into honey blocks, which I guess are a 4-block crafting recipe, so 2 by 2, and those will produce a honey block, which are fun because stuff sticks to them and slides down slowly as opposed to bouncing if it was a block of slime. So yeah, that's bees in a nutshell for you. The main thing to be concerned with is when you try to manually use a tool on them, like a shears or a bottle, they will spawn killer bees if you're not in creative mode. The way that you get around that is you get a dispenser. You plonk a dispenser pointing at the beehive in question. Or however you can get it to be in the spot that it needs to be. Like we can put this here. And if you have a dispenser, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. If you have a dispenser facing the beehive in question, you can load it with either empty bottles or a undamaged shear, and then press a button on the side. And it will deploy the tool inside to either spit out honeycomb or a bottle of honey respectively, based upon whatever tool you have inside, and that way it will not trigger the angry bees. You can plunk a campfire underneath of them in order to convince the bees that there's a forest fire going on. At least that's how it works in real life. So they freak out and start trying to protect the hive and everything that's inside of it, so they hide inside the hive until you destroy the campfire, and then they'll come back out again. So those are two ways that you can try to harvest what's inside of them without causing angry killer bees to spawn. You can also grab these bees and have them follow you to a homemade hive by simply holding out a flower, and they'll follow you around, like how chickens will follow you when you're holding seeds. It's a little bit jankier to do that, and I think you can use leads on them. Let's find out. Yes, you can also grab them with a lead and lead them back home. That way you have a few different options at your disposal in order to build your fancy new beehive. Once you've got a couple of bees in an enclosure like this and start feeding them, though, they'll very quickly multiply, and then you'll have a near infinite supply of wax and honey, which is especially great if you want to use copper blocks or build things like the honey blocks. You can also automate them with a machine, which I might go over in a future tutorial. So that's it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. I've been your host, Larry. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you next time. Bye, everybody, and have a good one.